Hi, this is Nathan Oxenfeld with Integral Eyesight Improvement. I'm here in Bolton, Vermont, and I want to film this short video and take you on a little walk with me, an outdoor walk, an evening walk, to cover the topic of night vision. It's just after 4:30 p.m. here, and the sun just set. So we recently set our clocks back for daylight savings time, and so I figured this would be a pretty appropriate time to address this really popular question I get, which is about the night vision and how to specifically improve night vision. So in the context of the Bates method or natural vision improvement, a lot of people notice improvements in the daytime when the sun is out on bright sunny days, but maybe not noticing as many improvements in the dark. And this is the darker time of year where the days are shorter. And here in Vermont, like even when the sun is out, a lot of times it's a pretty gray sky anyway. So I've got a lot of experience in terms of working with night vision, not only with my own experience, my own vision, but also helping lots of my students as well. Because I know for myself, when I first started taking my glasses off and working on improving my eyesight naturally, I was starting to experience clear flashes or moments of better focus, better eyesight without my glasses on, but primarily only during the daytime. And once the sun set, my vision pretty much just seemed like it got much worse, and I pretty much had to go back to wearing my glasses at night. So although I was taking my glasses off more during the day and getting actual improvements, I still used my glasses at nighttime for driving and also sometimes in social situations at night. And I just had to kind of be patient with my night vision maybe not improving as fast or at the same rate as my day vision. But sure enough, after more time in practice, my night vision did also start to improve, and I was starting to get clear flashes even in the dark and even with less light available. So it's totally possible to even improve night vision and get to the point where you don't need glasses for things like driving at night, but it might take a little longer. And speaking of taking longer, my first primary tip about night vision is actually giving yourself time in the dark, and specifically time to adjust to the dark, actually letting your eyes make this gradual adjustment to night vision. And technically this is not a night vision walk because there's still light in the sky, but I do consider this part of the night vision routine, which is actually being outdoors and witnessing the transition from day to night. So by me being outside and my eyes and my brain are experiencing the sky getting darker, the daylight transitioning into the night, in my experience that just seems to help then my night vision kind of activate a little bit faster. Versus if I was just staying inside and all of a sudden I realize, oh, the sun is set, it's dark. It's a little bit more of a harsh transition there. And I feel like when I can have the opportunity to actually be outside during the sunset or around dusk, that seems to be important. The reason I'm not taking you on a night walk is pretty much because it probably wouldn't show up on the video. But later this evening, sure enough, my dog's gonna need to go back out. So I'm gonna come back out here and go on an actual night walk and actually be in the dark. And it can take anywhere between 10, 15, 20 minutes or even more sometimes for your eyes to fully adjust to the dark. So this first tip is essentially kind of a combination of use it or lose it. So me encouraging you to actually give yourself opportunities and actually find time to spend in the dark, either inside or outside. But not only that, to make sure you're spending enough time out there or in the dark for your body to make that adjustment, right? So essentially, a couple minutes at a time might not be enough to really fully activate that night vision potential. And I just want to say that it's pretty exciting when your night vision actually does turn on and activate, because it's a different feeling or a different experience than your day vision. And for a lot of people, it's kind of underutilized. So it just gets me kind of excited thinking about more people tapping into this whole other side of their vision, their night vision. So the reason I wanted to put that tip first, the time thing, is because as we go on with this list, my eyes, as the time goes on, are going to be adjusting to the dark as we go. And if you want to experience this yourself, you could always take your phone and listen to this video on a night walk, and maybe not look at the screen, because that will kind of wash out your retinas and kind of ruin your night adjustment. But you could listen to it maybe and take maybe 10 or 15 or 20 minutes to just let your eyes adjust and keep listening as you go and enjoy the process. So this brings me to the next tip, which is actually about light. Ironically, I also found out that the more light therapy I did during the daytime, or the more sunning I did, it seemed like the better my night vision was that night. Whereas if maybe I didn't get as much light that day, or if I didn't, I skipped my sunning or my light therapy practice, it was almost like my night vision suffered from that. So you might want to even think about your eyes or your retinas as these kind of solar panels that you can charge up throughout the day that seem to kind of carry some sort of visual energy with you into your night seeing. Whereas if they're not getting as much charge during the day, they might not have enough juice, so to speak, to take you through the night. So that would be just a general basic tip, would be make sure you're sunning and getting outdoor time during the day as well, to kind of create this nice balance between light and dark, because that is also the next tip, essentially, is darkness. We actually use darkness to help our night vision, to help our eyes see in the dark. We actually give our eyes more opportunities to be in the dark, not only on these night walks, but from the Bates method, we do more palming practice, where we cover the eyes up completely, block out all the light, and go into that deep, dark, pitch black place. So we're giving the eyes an opportunity for the pupils to dilate. We're letting the retinas rest, the optic nerves recharge and rest as well. And oftentimes when we come out of palming, it's like we're seeing better in the dark. So essentially, you don't want to just be palming during the day, taking breaks from your screen time and that sort of thing. You can also be palming at night as a way to help your system adjust to the dark. On this topic of light and dark, I guess it makes sense to just address the general topic of lighting in your house or in your office. If you work in the evening, these kinds of things, there's definitely an effect on, artificial light exposure and then affecting our night vision. So that's just something that I've kind of made sure I take a look at in my own space, is like when I get back from this walk, I'm not just going to turn all the overhead lights on. I'm actually going to create a little bit more of a dim space and use more kind of floor lamps, or I love using those Himalayan salt lamps to create this more of a, dimmer glow in the space. Obviously, candles are sort of a tried and true, old-fashioned subtle lighting that can actually be quite nice for the eyes, especially later at night. But, the big elephant in the room here is the screen light, the light coming from your screens, your phones, your laptops, your computers, your TVs, especially since a lot of people enjoy looking at these screens as a way to wind down at the end of the day, or, closer to bedtime. And that also tends to throw off not only our night vision, but our circadian rhythms. So it could also be a factor to think about, maybe reducing screen time at night, or at least implementing some sort of blue blocking system, whether you're using blue blocking glasses, or I personally prefer to just use blue blocking softwares. And if you do need to use flashlights, like out on a walk, like when I take my dog on a walk at night, I bring a flashlight. I make sure I use the red light if possible. Campers and astronomers know that red light does not wash out your retinas. It does not ruin your night vision. So you can use red light at night to illuminate things around you or make sure you're safe. But then when you turn that red light off, your eyes are adjusting right back to that darkness so much faster, versus if you were to use a white light or some other colored light, and then you turn it off and it's almost like you're blind for a second. It takes your eyes really a lot longer to then gradually come back to that night vision adjustment. So just a little tip, if you happen to use flashlights, maybe make sure you can use a red light instead. A lot of headlamps have those red light functions as well. So a couple times so far I've mentioned the word retinas and even our rods and cones. So that plays a factor as well in terms of the difference between your central vision and your peripheral vision. So in the daytime, you're primarily in your central vision. You're using your cones because they require a lot of light to function. And those give us our detail vision and our color vision. The rods in the rest of the retina, the peripheral part of your retina, those are actually active more at night. So they don't require as much light to do their job, but their job is different than the cones. Their job is not to see colors and details. Their job is to sense motion primarily. So as I'm on this dark walk right now, I'm starting to actually expand more into my periphery. So my central vision is either looking at the screen, which by the way, the brightness is turned all the way down, and I've got my night shift mode on, so there's less blue light coming in. But ideally there would be no screen. It would just be looking out into the distance. But either way, my central vision is looking somewhere, but my peripheral vision is just noticing that there is a car moving in my left periphery. As I walk past it, I didn't look at it directly with my central vision. I just let my rods sense that there was a car in my left periphery, just like I'm sensing this telephone pole approaching and passing in my left periphery, and all these trees in my right periphery. And I'm even starting to notice my feet as I walk. So for night vision, we actually want to expand into our periphery and almost kind of use the periphery more and let our central vision just kind of relax a little bit. It's one of the really nice things about night vision stimulation is we actually take some of that pressure off the central vision and let the cones take a little bit of a break, because they can't even really see as many colors or details without as much light. So when they relax, then you can go out into the rods and really just enjoy the movement out there. This is actually also another tip from astronomy. It's called averted gaze. And since astronomers know that these, vision anatomical facts as well, they usually recommend that when looking at stars in the night sky, to actually avert your gaze slightly. So instead of looking directly at a star, or you could even try it with even an artificial light in the distance, sometimes it looks a little dimmer if you look directly at it with your central vision, with your cones. But then right when you look just off to the left or right or above or below, and then it's received by your rods, it actually brightens up. So it looks a little bit brighter. You can actually see it better with the rods in the periphery because they're actually a little more light sensitive, interestingly, than the cones are. So this is practiced in stargazing, which by the way is a very good night vision activity. So stargazing, moon gazing, just letting your vision stretch out into the distance, just letting your vision stretch out way into outer space and relax and not try too hard to see things clearly. You're actually playing around with your periphery and kind of like shifting and swinging the stars in the sky, which is pretty fun. But I kind of want you to think about maybe taking that averted gaze skill into other activities, like when you're working with night vision or dimmer environments. Like let's say you're maybe struggling to see something in a really dark restaurant or a dimly lit space. Instead of just staring directly at what you're trying to see, you can avert your gaze and keep shifting around it and go above it, below it, to the sides. And when you shift and swing like that, not only does that relax the eyes and create more clear flashes, but you might actually be seeing it a little bit better if it's just slightly peripheral. So it's a little different than what you might do in the daytime, where you really just are hopefully looking with central fixation, which is seeing best where you're looking. That's when you have enough light for your cones to do that. When there's not enough light for the cones to do that, then it's a little bit different. We can still use our central vision, but it's almost like we start to lean a little bit more on our periphery. Now, another popular topic about night vision is nutrition and certain vitamins and minerals and nutrients that have shown to actually maybe help with night perception and things like that. So whether we're talking about lutein or zeaxanthin or vitamin A, so sometimes people find that either consuming more of that in their diet or even supplementing with it might have a positive effect, so could be worth exploring. But in general, I just want to leave you with this concept that practicing the Bates method helps with your night vision, especially if you practice in the dark. It took me a while to realize that, wait a minute, one of the reasons why my vision's only improving in the daytime and not in the dark is because I'm only practicing the Bates method in the daytime. It's kind of like right when it would get dark out, I would just sort of stop. So this is a general takeaway here, is that the Bates method is not just eye exercises that you do for a certain amount of time. It's really something you think about and you implement 24/7, including in the dark and at night. So once I started actually doing some of my Bates practices in the night and in the dark, including the palming and the swinging and especially a lot of the eye chart kind of things, working with reading charts and reading fine print in dimmer light, I really started to notice that things were improving even when I didn't have the bright light that I used to need in order to see clearly. So it makes sense to start easy and give yourself a lot of light, but maybe some of this night vision stuff is kind of, once you've gotten a certain point into your Bates method experience and you're noticing improvements during the daytime, if you're getting clear flashes in the light, then the next question will be, okay, how can this start to translate into the evening time so that I don't need my glasses in the day or at night? But it's a process, and like I said, in my experience, I was able to get rid of my glasses for the daytime much sooner than for the nighttime. But sure enough, the more I practiced and the more diligent I stayed with it, my night vision caught up with the day vision. So now that my eyes have adjusted to the dark, it's good timing because I've actually just made it back to my place. So I'm going to call it here. And let me know if you have any questions about these tips for night vision, if you have any experiences yourself about how you improved your night vision. Love hearing your experiences and hearing about your clear flashes and everything like that. So just let me know if you have any questions or suggestions for new videos that you'd like me to put out. Kind of like this one was partially because I was getting lots of requests about covering this topic. So just let me know how I can help you out, and enjoy having some fun and safe night vision activation.